Okay, this is how you can get some areas using the GIMP program. I've just opened a JPEG of obviously a retinal flat mount stained with isolectin. If you don't see this histogram window off to the left, the first thing you'll want to do is go up to Windows, Dockable Dialogues, and make sure you select basically histogram, and that brings that window up. You'll see down here there's a pixel and count. That number is telling us right now that on this layer we're looking at, and the border of it has dashed yellow lines. That's the area actually of that image. It's up in the 70 million pixel range. And another thing to do on here is under the view, just so these yellow border lines don't interfere with views later on, you can actually go to the view and turn off show the layers boundary. We'll just get rid of those. And you might have to do that in any other layers that we create as well. Of course, there's the move tool, the rectangular selection tool, but the lasso tool will probably just be defaulted down here in these modes. And you can see there's replacing the current selection, and that's really the only one we're really going to have to use. The other trick using this lasso tool will be when you want to, if we want to zoom in, which we will, which helps us select the border, you need to move the image around. And the way we'll do that is when we want to do that, we hold down, and don't just press it once, we'll hold down the space bar. And that will temporarily give you a move grip, and you can move the image and then let go and just keep doing the tracing. So I would go down here. You can do some pre-selections. So for instance, if you come up to this kind of scale, as I'm looking at boundaries, I'll be able to see very easily where the boundaries are and also where there's just some ripped tissue. And the default mode for this will just be polygonal, which means I'm going to start doing this here. I'll show you. I'm just going to keep clicking, and because I'm able to see where all the tissue and veins are, or all the capillary beds, I'm really using the edges of these capillary beds. I know they were ripped here by a cut, so that's really where the tissue is. Now I want to move this image. I'm going to hold down the space bar, and now I'm just going to move up the image and just continue on my way. I can freehand by just holding down the mouse button. Now I'm freehand drawing. If I let go of the mouse button, I'm just back to doing these. This can save a lot of time. When you have to bend around corners, click as often as you need to do that, obviously. The idea is the data is only as good and accurate as we make it. Now there might be a little tissue you see back here glowing. That's really not from the retina, though. I can really kind of know where the retina is because I know that at some point this network was attached to here, and that's where it's been pulled apart. And if I want to go back a notch too, I can use my delete key and just back up a couple notches. I really want to kind of do this, I think, around here. I'm just going to hold my space bar and move again. What type of mouse you use will really depend on how well you can use that mouse. If you need a drag touchpad or a different kind of mouse, that's to be figured out by the user. I'm doing this right now on my MacBook Air, and the touchpad mouse is quite nice in my case. But of course, that's what I've been using for 20 years with laptops, so it's very comfortable for me. When I need to bend around, this is actually ripped tissue in here. But the clicking point outlining does save a lot of time this way. And right now I'm outlining the entire retina. Of course, this is a normal retina. Just move this again. Oops, I want to back up here. This is periphery retina. I'm going to go around here. Being zoomed in is part of the trick. Makes it much easier to do the tracing. Almost done this retina. As we get near to this last point, if I click on the first point, that completes it. And as you can see, everything is now has these what we call marching ants effect. Let's go back out and zoom out a little bit more here. So there is the whole retina area. Right now it's kind of selected, but it's not permanent in any way. And what I'm going to do is, while it's selected, I can copy it. So you can either go up here and copy. On a Mac, you can use the Command key and C to copy, Command and V key to paste. I think probably you use the Control copy and Control paste if you're on a Windows machine. But I'm basically going to do my Command C copy. That should now be put on the clipboard, and I'm just going to do Command V right now, trust me, to paste it. And wait a few seconds, and you'll see a new floating selection layer has appeared here. And if I turn off the visibility of the main layer, that's basically what you see so far on these other layers. So now this floating selection layer, it's dark highlighted here. That should now be the active layer that I'm manipulating on. What we're going to do with that is color in this area. And we can just use the bucket tool. So I'm just going to go over to this bucket tool, bucket fill tool. I notice here my active background is a white right now, and it looks like foreground color is black. So white is the background. I can quickly, in the fill type for the bucket, I'm going to take the background color that it has. It's white. I'm going to make sure I have this mode on, fill the whole selection. I'm just going to go into this selection area. My attention, I'm manipulating the floating selector layer. I'm just going to fill that in and just wait a second. And that should fill in for me. Oops, I did something wrong there. What happened? Okay. I think I had to have it visible. I was trying to do it, but make sure this layer is visible when you do that, and it seemed to want that. So as you can see, it's now filled it in all in white. However, the dancing ants are still here. And when the dancing ants are dancing, things aren't permanently in the layer yet. But our attention now is on this layer. I'm just going to go up to layer and say, turn it into a new layer. Boom. Dancing ants go away. This is now a permanent extra layer in the image. And you can see I can flick it on and off. That's the total area. So I'm just going to, the other thing to notice when we're looking at this is notice when I'm on this this area, this layer, the area you can see is now, the count is this white area, which is much less than the full count. These numbers are part of the file, they'll be saved here. One thing to do right away is I'm going to save this image. I'm going to save as, and I would just say, and right now I'm just doing a test or a demonstration. I'm going to save this as a XCF file, which is the native format that GIMP likes to use. So now I have this file saved. The layers as I have them now are there, and they're in the system. So when we're done with that, we can go back. Oops, I'm going to, right away before I forget, I'm going to rename this pasted layer just to total retina. Okay, that's my total retina area. Now let's just repeat the process for the avascular. I'm just going to turn off the visibility on this overlayer to get it out of my way. I'm clicking to select again the main layer, and I'm going to use the lasso tool again. And I'm just going to, obviously there's not a lot of avascular area in this retina, but basically let's call this the avascular area in this retina. Close it, finish that off. Same as before, I can now copy. I'm doing the copy command by my keyboard. I'm doing the paste command, and you have another new floating layer here. It's visible, my attention's on it. I'm going to go back to my bucket tool. The settings should still be the same. I'm going to color that in white. This is still an active layer with the dancing ants. I want to turn it into a kind of a permanent layer. I'm going to go layer to new layer. Boom. And now that layer is permanent. That's there. This layer is also here. They're all in here. When I'm on this layer, note this is this tiny amount now, 214,000. That's the area of the avascular area. So now I'm just going to label that. And then maybe I'm going to just rename this one what it is. Total area. There we go. Boom. So you can have these layers off. You can save JPEGs of these or TIFFs or whatever you're going to need to for illustration purposes, but mostly right now this is a beautiful file format. It has exactly what we've outlined that's responsible for the number. This is all what you would call traceable data, can be re-examined at any time. And another trick you could do is, while I'm on this total area, on any area of a picture, and it's the same in Photoshop, usually you can go up and adjust the opacity right away. So if I just turn down the opacity of the total area, you even go down to almost like 10%. I can turn it back up at any time, but I'm going to save it this way. When I want to review this and open up this file, we open it up once, we look at this, and immediately we can quality control the tracing. I can look at it and say, oh, it looks like that was traced good by whoever did it. I can flick some of these things on and off. All the information's there, and I can double check that all the numbers that were taken have come from these areas. So I'm just going to make sure I save that file again. And there you go. I think GIMP is a better tool, easier to use than Photoshop to do this work, tracing the areas. The nice thing is too is that GIMP is free. You can install it in any of your Windows machines or any of your Macs. And they even have versions of GIMP that go back. They keep them archived, so you can even have a much older version of your operating system and still get this program. These basic tools all work going back years in this program. So that ends the tutorial on how to do retinal areas in our flat mounts. And this is how I would like people to do it. Dr. Mitten signing off.